It's not good morning. I suppose it's good evening. Wait a minute. For some of you, it's good morning. For some of you, it's good evening. Who knows where in the world people are getting this? Let me see. It is the middle of the night in England. It's 9:15 here. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So it's 2 in the morning, 1:45 in the morning. So I expect all our usual visitors, watchers in the UK will be snoring, cuddled up in bed, sound asleep, unless, of course, you're a late nighter. Yes, here we are, and we are off the cuff. So we've got Rosemary's off the cuff stuff. So first of all, I'd like to say hello, Chris. Are you ready for this off the cuff stuff?
Well, I'm excited to see what all our listeners come up with. I mean, they're directing this in a way, aren't they?
It's so true. And then, of course, by no means least, and should not have been last, but Greg Eagle is here with us as well. So we're doing off the cuff stuff. So I'm going to start this off. I don't know if we've got anybody watching yet, or if you've got.
We do have a few, Rosemary. We do.
Okay. So I'm going to start this off because I just spoke with my grandson, and we always talk every night. So he knows that I do magical stuff. He doesn't quite know what that magical stuff is, and he knows that the Altea family has a little bit of magic too. So he feels that he also has magic, which of course he does. So so I was telling him tonight that yesterday I went to Iceland, and his first reaction was, Iceland? What are you doing in Iceland, Mosey? Wait a minute, how did you get to Iceland? And I said, well, how do you think I get to Iceland? You know that Mosey's magic, right? Well, I'm not going to tell you all the details of this conversation because it did go on quite to a lengthy degree, but I was talking to Reese about astral traveling, and it was so funny because he got the concept of my being able to travel when I said, you know, I travel through time and space, and we're able to travel because, you know, we're magic and other people can do the same thing. And he wanted to know how, and I said that we'd have a conversation about it later. He said, can I do it? And I said, maybe when you're older you'll be able to do it. Anyway, when it got to the point where he realized that I was talking about traveling through time and space, through the universe, he said. And so I can see that I've started his mind going, and I've started the ball rolling. And it's interesting because I was talking to Chris earlier on, because we want to do a program for people helping parents and grandparents, in fact, helping entire families to deal with children who are suffering a loss. And I think it's very important that we do something, or we talk about children and what parents can do and what grandparents can do, what the family can do when a child is suffering a loss. Now, you know, that loss for a child could be the devastating loss of a little pet. It could be the devastating loss of a grandmother or a grandfather. It could be an even more devastating loss of a sibling or of a parent. What do we tell our children about loss? How do we help our children to understand and to come to terms with the fact that we die, but that it's okay that we die? And I think that there's a huge gap in this Western world of ours, because I know in many cultures, in many of the ancient cultures, people help their children. They talk about death in the same way they talk about birth. Children are educated and helped to understand that death is a natural part of living. So so we'd love to have some comments if there are any there. But what we're doing here is we're just hanging out, having a drink. Actually, for me, it's a non-alcoholic at the moment. I should change that, shouldn't I? But anyway, never mind. You know, but we're hanging out, we're chatting about anything that you guys want to chat about. And the same for us, right, Chris? We're chatting about anything that we feel like chatting about also. So it's off the cuff stuff with me. Chris, how are we doing? I can see we've got quite a few people checking in here.
We do, and it's always nice to get the opportunity to be with people who can't be here during the 11 a.m. Thursday and Saturday shows. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Ananda's on saying hello.
Hi.
Starshine saying good evening.
Hi.
Sarah's on. Sharon, Maggie, Sandy, Chris. Chris says, what a lovely surprise. Dreadful day at work, so I'm ready.
Oh, darling, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Flory says, good evening from Ontario, Canada. Always lovely to gather with you and Chris.
Hi, Flory.
Fernanda says, good night from London, Rosemary.
Oh,
Great Eagle and Chris.
what are you doing up at 2 o'clock in the morning? It's like
Maggie's asking a question, Rosemary.
okay.
The ex and I have come to agreement. He just needs to hold up his end. Do you, Gray Eagle, or my daughter, Dad didn't like him too much, have any insight if he will or he won't?
Well, you've just got to, Maggie, you've got to hold his feet to the fire. That's where your lawyer comes in. That's why you need a good, strong lawyer. You have to hold his feet to the fire. And we know, don't we, Maggie, how difficult that can be. But you have to be strong and you have to be determined and just keep going, my lovely. Chris, do we have any comments or anything that anybody else would like to talk about, or a subject that somebody's got? I mean, here we are, we're sitting around the campfire here.
Annie says, I needed this today. I moved in with my mom to take care of her. She's such a hard woman.
Oh, what did you do that for then? Why would you put yourself through that? I suppose we do this, don't we, for our parents? You know, just remember, my love, that she may be hard on the outside, but maybe somewhere, if you dig deep enough, or if you just sit and hold her hand quietly, perhaps when she's asleep, that would be good too, right? You know, you might find that little soft center in there. So sorry, my heart goes out to anybody, any of you out there who are having to deal with aged parents. My daughter's terrified of having to deal with me. Now, if I weren't me and somebody said I had to deal with me, I'd be terrified too. Chris.
Barb says, hi, it's so good to see you again.
Hi, sweetie.
Question, do you want us to email you who we'd like to connect with on the 8th and why? I shall be with you, so can't wait.
Absolutely. You know, send your email to Chris, Kris, because Chris is organizing all of the webinars. So send it in the email to Chris at rosemaryaltea.com. And, you know, just not that there are, you know, you can do all of this. There are no guarantees. I can't guarantee who we'll be talking with and who we won't be talking with, but definitely we'll be giving messages, and we'll be trying to give as many messages to as many people as we possibly can, which is why we limit the amount of people that we have to these webinars. I don't like to do huge audiences. I like to, you know, give everybody a chance as best I can.
Gina says, what a surprise. Just to see you on. And
well,
Rosemary. Rosemary says she's ready.
Oh, good.
Joanne says, so happy you're on.
Oh, good.
Christine says, a friend of mine just transitioned. I get the feeling he is trying to communicate with me. Can you and Gray Eagle clarify if this is possible?
Of course it's possible, absolutely. And in fact, not only is it possible, it's it's more than probable. So, you know, listen carefully, pay attention to your senses, pay attention to your sensitivity, pay attention to your feelings. You know, one way or another, he'll make himself known. And Grey Eagle is saying to me, for you, watch out for your dreams, because I feel he may well come to you in your sleep state. You know that, you know, when we have that dream and we wake up in the morning, we say, you know, I saw my mother, or I saw my brother, and you know, but it was only a dream, but it was so real, but it was only a dream, but it was so real. And of course, it is real. So our loved ones very often find that in our sleep state, in our relaxed sleep state, they're able to sort of get through to us more readily, more easily. So pay attention to your dream state, my love. Chris.
Chris says, I'm getting this in early. Is there a message from my daddy-o or his sister Vi?
Oh boy. Well, you should come to our May 8th webinar, my love. Is there a message? Not so far. That doesn't mean that there won't be one. It's just that not so far. Sorry.
Let's see. Robin Harnett says hello.
Hi.
Susan, this is going to be this makes me smile. My goodness, I have tried to connect with you for 30 years.
Oh, 30 years? Well, why?
Where have you been hiding, Rosemary?
Well, I'm not. I thought I was being very visible. Susan, please tell us the story. Why have you been trying to connect, and why is it taking you this long? And let me see. You've not been trying continually over 30 years, have you? But maybe from time to time. Please let us know why you didn't connect sooner. I hope you didn't email me and we ignored you. We have had issues with the office from time to time where somebody, you rely on people who work for you. You rely on them being good. You rely on them being honest. You rely on them doing their job. But sometimes their life gets sidetracked. Sometimes they have issues in their lives and don't necessarily do the job. And we have from time to time found stacks of emails that haven't been answered, sometimes even from 2 or 3 years previously. So what I tell people, and I'm telling you, Susan, I'm glad that after 30 years you managed to connect with us, but please persevere. If you have emailed us and you haven't had a reply, please keep emailing us until we do reply. The email will be Rosemary, Rosemary, at Rosemary Altea, ALTEA.com. Or Chris does all the emails and she is brilliant. And if you email her, I can promise you, you'll get an answer right back. Chris, KRIS, at rosemaryaltea.com. Susan, why did it take you 30 years? What's going on, my love? Chris.
Robin says, I paid for my ticket for May 8th and I'm so excited.
Oh, good. I'm excited for you too. I'm excited for me, actually. I have never, should I say this? I don't want to scare everybody, but I've never actually done group connections talking with the spirit world online like this. I mean, I've done it plenty of times in audiences, and of course, I do one-on-one consultations. So, I'm not worried about that. But we have to make sure that you all who are signing up, you who are connecting with our webinar on May the 8th, that you know exactly the best thing to do to get the best results for you. So, just if you email the office and just make sure you say, that you have a ticket, because then Chris will know what she's dealing with, and just say, who you'd like to, who perhaps you'd like to connect with, and and maybe why, or if you have one issue that you would like help and guidance with, that would be useful too. When people come to me for consultations, I usually say to them, have your 10 questions ready. Of course, we've got a good hour, if not longer, to do it. So 10 questions, talking with the spirit world, connecting with their loved ones is fairly easy, but we've got lots of people coming to the webinar, as you can imagine. So to have those questions, to have the, who you want to talk to, and the one question, it's helpful to us. But do be prepared, because I shall need to hear your voices. So do be prepared to talk to me. Do be do be prepared to say yes or no, and be prepared if necessary to go on camera. Don't worry about it. It's not a public thing. We won't show it out to the public. So, and don't get nervous that you might be on camera, because it'll be just us. So, okay, Chris, keep going.
Fernanda says, I would like to learn more about healing.
Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, actually, I was going to say, for every Wednesday during the month of May, of course, we're doing our 25-year celebration. So every Wednesday is going to be Wellness Wednesday. And we will be focusing absolutely on healing. We don't quite know what the times are going to be. We're going to have to see what else is going on through the day. But even if you don't catch us live, you can always see it. And we'll tell you exactly where to see it. So we'll be on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Come on, Chris, help me out.
Yeah, you've got a couple of Facebook pages.
Yeah.
So some
you'll be
people
able
come in
to,
through the
so
healing
you'll
page.
be able to find it. And also, darling, if you'd like to go to YouTube, you'll see we have lots and lots of shows, lots and lots of things that you could watch and learn from. Healing Hands Around the World that's me. So you put Rosemary Altea and then put Healing Hands Around the World, and there are lots of videos and lots of opportunities for you to learn about healing, not just for yourself, but if you wanted to be a healer and you wanted to give healing to other people, you can learn about that too. So during the course of our healing sessions, we'll be talking about color energy. We'll be talking about how to build your own energy, how to extend your energy, how to build the energy that is around you, and how to tap into that God force, that incredible God force that is out there that we use for healing. So, Wellness Wednesdays. Chris.
Sandy says, I've watched you recently on YouTube on the Oprah, Lisa, Larry King, and other programs.
I'm everywhere.
Do you have a favorite? Any fun stories you'd like to share about those experiences?
Oh my golly. Well, of course, Larry King is one of my favorites. We all do miss him so. He was brilliant at what he did. I can remember there is a famous moment when he has, I think it's James Randi, and if you'd like to read what James Randi says about me, it really is awful. He was not a nice person, but anyway, we had Larry King had James Randi on as a guest, and before I went on the show, my friends said to me, I don't think you should do this. James Randi's mean, which he definitely was mean. And then my agent at the time sent me all this information about him. You need to know all of this about him before you go on. And she sent me all of this stuff, which I promptly put in the garbage because I would prefer not to know who I'm going to face. But when I went on the Larry King show, he said to me before we went on, I was in the studio with him. I was in California in the studio, and he looked at me and he said, now, Rosemary, he said, I'm just giving you a heads up. He is tough. James Randi is tough. So I want you to just be prepared. Larry was so worried about me. I think he was so worried that I was going to get creamed, I think is the word. Actually, according to Larry, I think I was the one doing the creaming, because I really sort of turned it around on James Randi. And if anybody wants to see that show, just go to Larry King, Rosemary Altea, and James Randi, because it was so funny. And I can remember, this is the funny part of this. I was talking to James Randi, and I was talking about this. He used to offer $1 million to anyone who could prove that they really could talk to the dead. And so I said to Larry during the interval with one of the commercials, I said to Larry, I don't believe there is $1 million. I think it's just a scam. And he looked at me and he said, will you say that when we come back? I said, sure, I will. So I did. And poor James Randi, you do have to feel quite sorry for him because he just didn't know what to do. And then he started to get insulting. But the funny part about it was that when we went to the next commercial, Larry stood up and he's yelling to all the people in the green room and he's yelling to all of the people in the studio, oh my gosh, she got him. She, meaning me, she got him for the first time ever. Somebody got James Randi and he looked at me and he says, oh my gosh, you got him, Rosemary. I can't believe that somebody got James Randi. So that was funny. You know, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes that when we're watching TV or when we're watching our shows, we don't see what's going on behind the scenes, and sometimes it can be really quite funny. Like the time that on the Lisa Gibbons show, well, they used to do this every time I went on the Lisa Gibbons show. They used to lock me in a cupboard before I went on stage. And while she was talking to the audience, and while people in the audience were talking and saying while they were there or what they'd hoped from the experience of meeting me, they'd shove me in a cupboard, put some earphones on me. The cupboard was dark. I don't know. It was like I was in this little dark cupboard. They do it every time so that I couldn't hear and I couldn't see. So that when I went out, on the audience was absolutely certain and absolutely satisfied that I didn't know anybody there, and I didn't know what I was heading into. Quite funny, really. I think one time they showed a clip of me in the cupboard with with my earphones on. So you never know what's going on behind the scenes there, do you? Keep going, Chris.
Mark says, just as I'm eating my supper of pork baby ribs and about to get a glass of wine, you come on.
Oh, can we join you? Do you know, it's a funny thing you should mention ribs, because we're doing every week, every Sunday, we're doing a meal. So we're having an appetizer, we're having a main course, we're having a dessert, and we're having drinks and things. And I might even show you how to make a baked brie. Who knows what we're going to be doing? But every Sunday, I'm going to be doing one of those courses and showing you how I do it. And this coming Sunday, I'm making my version of the best cream cheese ever, and oh gosh, it's so good. Really is the best. A friend gave me this recipe, and then I tweaked the recipe, and now it's a completely different recipe, because I thought, why don't I just add this, why don't I just add that, and so on. And I did consider, Mark, actually making, because I have a recipe that, again, I thought, why don't I add a little of this, and what if I add a little of that? And this recipe is for pork ribs, slow cooked, slow cooked. And of course, then I've got another recipe for short ribs. I think we talked food the last time. Let's get off food.
Robin says, I just ordered your book again, and I'm reading it again because I can't remember stuff.
Oh, which book would that be? There are many out there. It's not the cookbook. I'm pretty sure it's not the cookbook.
Agnes says, I couldn't sleep. Pleasantly surprised you were on live.
Hi, Agnes. Yes, and here I am. We shan't be on for very long, but we're here for just to, if you can't sleep. I can remember there was a time when, there was so much pressure on me for one reason or another. I had somebody steal a great deal of money from me, and then I had the tax people after me, and then I had all sorts of things. It took years and years to be resolved, just been resolved. And when I couldn't sleep because things were going around in my mind, I had to actually grit my teeth sometimes and make everything blank. And I just kept refusing to allow any thoughts to enter at all. It's a tough thing to do, but it was the only way I could fall asleep. So sometimes if I can't sleep, though, like the other day, I start reading, and then the next thing I know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm still not slept, and I've got to be up at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when I take a nap during the day. So I'm glad you can't sleep, because we're so lucky to have you with us.
Christine says, a friend of mine just transitioned. I get the feeling he is. Oh, I think I already read that one, didn't
You
I?
read that one, Chris.
Sorry. Sarah says, your thoughts on talking about death to children is well timed. Just about to have to put our 16-year-old dog down and trying to think of the best way to talk the kids through it.
Well, if you know beforehand, especially with pets, if you know beforehand that this is going to happen, I believe, I shouldn't tell you what to do because you must choose for your own selves, but I believe that our children should be a part of the process. Now, you know, most of you, that I lost my darling boy, my beautiful puppy, Cachorro, in January, this past January. And I was with Reese and with my daughter Samantha. And Reese is 8 years old. Now, in some ways, he's fortunate in that we've had losses before. His little puppy Piper, his pet Piper, died. So we have brought him up to talk about this, and we brought him up to talk and to ask questions, and we always try to answer those questions. And in fact, very often, and particularly around Halloween, when he has questions about ghosts and things that go bump in the night and so on, his mama will say to him, you need to ask Mosey. That's a question for Mosey. So we've had lots of conversations about, you know, spiritual stuff. And of course, he knows what I do. So when you're not having that in your life, if you don't have that in your life, I think it's good to talk to your children, to allow them time to say their goodbyes. You know, it's not for the puppy, although you can tell them it's for the puppy if you want to, but it's more about them being able to say goodbye. So giving children the chance to say goodbye is very important. And you know, just be really honest. If your child says, what, you know, where is he going once he's, you know, what happens now, where is he going, if you don't believe in an afterlife, then that's what you should say. If you are like me and you do believe in an afterlife, I can tell my grandson exactly where Cachorro is going. And Cachorro is going to be with Piper, with Feather, with Nino. Golly, there's so many. With Rosie. And so, and of course, my Karma, and Atlas and Minter, and on we can go. So you can, if that's what you believe, then that's what you should say to your children, but be open about it and be honest about it. And if your children say to you, you know, well, why do we have to take him to the vet, and why is the vet going to do it? Then that's very simple, isn't it? Well, the vet can put him to sleep without any pain, and we don't want him to be in any more pain. But be honest and open. Encourage your children to ask questions. Don't worry if they cry. That's a good thing. You cry too. Remember, as adults, when we cry, when we show our emotions, we give our children permission to cry. If you're crying, they cry. And, you know, with Reese, I encourage him to ask as many questions as he wants without pushing him. When Cachorro, we knew that it was his last day and we were waiting for the vet to come. I had Reese come in for part of the time and sit on the bed because he wanted to, not because I wanted him to, but because he wanted to. And I also encourage Reese to give Cachorro healing, because although he's only 8 years old, I have shown Reese, we've talked about healing, we've talked about energy, and we've talked about how if you put your hands on someone and you think loving thoughts, you can send them such love and such healing. And so he knows how to do that. So you might want to talk to your children about that as well, and to explain that, you know, gently saying goodbye, gently, you know, making sure that they are part of the process. If they want to come with you to the vet, if they want to be in there and see it happen, encourage that with them. Don't suggest it if they don't want it. Don't push it by any means, but it's okay if they see it, because if they're part of it, they feel, you know, they know what's happening. You know, it's important with pets. It's perhaps easier than when we lose adults. But if you have a child who knows that his grandparent is sick, for instance, or that he has a sibling who is sick, encourage that child to go and sit with them. Talk about death as you would about birth. It is a great experience. It is a new stage, that next stage. I think that as parents, as grandparents, we have to get over the fact that we see death as a punishment. We see it as, pain for us. And what we have to do with our children is to explain that yes, pain. There's grief. We go through the grief. We go through the pain. But those of us who are left behind, it's tough on us. But for those who are passing over, those who are transitioning, as some of you would say, those who are leaving us or leaving this earth plane, for them, as I said to somebody just a few days ago, they're heading into a party because all of their loved ones, all of those people they never thought perhaps they'd see again, or all of those people that they're looking forward to seeing are also looking forward to seeing them. So talking about it openly and honestly, I think, is the key. Chris.
Flory says, nearly 16 years ago, we lost my firstborn grandson at 11 days old.
Oh, gosh.
We speak about Seth to his two brothers, now 13 and 14 and a half.
Good job. Good job.
Their mom tells them that Seth is now an angel. I'm just wondering whether this is the best way to explain about death.
I think we each have our own way of explaining, and if this works for the boys, and if it works for the family, then absolutely. At some point, you might want to point out the difference between our loved ones in the spirit world, who are our angels; they are special to us, and the difference between an angel, a being of light, which is solely a messenger of God. And there is a difference, but there's so many times when, in fact, I think I said just the other day to somebody, your father's here with you, and he tells me to tell you that he is your angel and he will be that person who is standing next to you. Now, he doesn't mean that he's an angel with wings or a halo. He simply means that he knows that this is how his child thinks about him, and it makes perfect sense to his child to hear his father say that. But there are different types of angels, so whatever works for you, I think it's great. And I think that the wonderful thing is, the amazing thing is that I'm sure you know this, that Seth is growing and learning in the spirit world alongside of his brothers, so that so if, for instance, if you came to me, I wouldn't see a baby of 11 days old. I would see this boy, you know almost young man, standing with you all. So perhaps you could explain to them that he's watching them and watching over them, and definitely is their angel, definitely is that person who steers and guides and helps them. So good job. I'm so glad, I'm so glad that you're still including him in your family, because so many people have these awful tragedies and then they ignore the fact, or they pretend it didn't happen. But more and more, I think we're becoming much more aware of the fact that the spirit world does exist. And I'm pretty sure that Seth sees all, as our Thursday show tells us the spirit world sees all. So thank you for sharing that with us. Chris.
Robin said, today was the day my dad died 11 years ago. I know he is with me.
I'm so glad. And, Grey Eagle is actually saying to me that you're getting lots of loving kisses. I can't honestly say it's from your dad. Well, actually, I can say it's from your dad. So lots of love and kisses. See, I think I know what I'm doing, but then Greg will correct me. So lots of love and kisses from your daddy, who is talking about this anniversary, which is special. So when you think of him, don't think of him as dying. Think of him as going into that fantastic, a little bit like the chrysalis, and it opens and then there's this beautiful butterfly. that's kind of like death. We sort of come out of this chrysalis, which is this earth plane of ours, and we come out and we sort of, then we are in the light. Beautiful, delicate, spiritual beings. Fabulous. Chris.
Susan responded from earlier. She said, I live in Vermont and I know you lived here.
I did. I did. And 30 years it's taken you to find me. Well, I'm glad you found me. I'm so happy, Susan, that you found me. Now you've found me. Now what are you going to do? Are you going to keep following me? Are you going to be joining in our sessions? We have one every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have one on Saturdays. We have story time on Saturdays, which is, well, I love it. I love to tell the stories. And we're doing off the cuff stuff. And this May, which is in 2 days' time, May the 1st is our Saturday story time. All the way through the month of May, we are having special events because you all know this 25-year anniversary of the publication of The Eagle and the Rose. I can't believe, number one, that I'm that old. I can't believe that The Eagle and the Rose has survived 25 years. I can actually, because it's an amazing, amazing book. What I can believe it, but I'm thrilled, is that people are still discovering the book. It's like, it's to so many people, it's a new publication, but you can find it anywhere. So, Chris.
Annie says, Rosemary, a dear friend just passed today. She was 26. She leaves behind. She was 26.
Okay.
She leaves behind a little boy.
Oh.
Do you think she is at peace because it was sudden and leaving her son?
I think that she will sooner rather than later. Yes, I think she will be at peace. I think that she'll have this transition period where she'll be watching her child and watching the grief of her family. And that's going to be painful for her because obviously she loves you all. But I think that certainly, I think she'll make herself known one way or another, and certainly to her son she'll make herself known at some point. You know, I deal with people, I see people all the time in these situations, and you know, the wonderful thing that I do, which is, I have to say, just amazing, is that I'm able to bring together families, mothers, fathers, siblings, you name it. I'm able to bring people together from the spirit world to join with us in our families or with their families again. I'm able to bring children back to their families, to reunite with their families. And there's such joy in doing that, and such joy for the families in having their loved ones who they think have gone from them, having them returned, albeit in a different way to them, that they are returned and giving evidence of their survival after death. I'm sure as a good friend, you'll do your very, very best to help this family. But if you could just send us a name, or we'll put your name down and we'll just send them healing. Absolutely. We'll put them on our healing list and send them healing. Chris.
Randy says, a few weeks ago, I was worried about my dad. My phone rang at 5:30 a.m. as I was thinking of him, but no one was there. Then it rang again, and it said, FaceTime, with the name of his wife. No one was there. This happened when I was thinking of him. Was that spirit?
Sounds like it to me. How nice for you. How nice. You know, when we're thinking of our loved ones in the spirit world, our thoughts, I think, you know, we're talking today, Chris and I, about the power of thought and the power of words and so on, and how important the power of thought is. Our thoughts are tiny pulses of energy that go out into the universe, and our loved ones in the spirit world, it's like they're catching our thoughts as we think them. They're going out there and they catch them, and they know when we're thinking about them, and they know when we're feeling something for them, and very often that's when they will come close to us. Chris.
Judith says, I've emailed Chris to get the monthly newsletter, but have not heard back. I'll try again.
Chris?
So what we do when people email us in the office is we add you to the mailing list. There's a service that sends out all of our newsletters. So you will get the next newsletter that comes out. We don't go back into an archive and send old ones.
So all you have to do, my darling, is just wait and be patient. And it is noted that you asked to be put on the mailing list, so you will be. And if in a couple of weeks' time or so you don't get the newsletter, or if in a couple of weeks' time you don't get information from us, then do please try again. If you're in doubt that anything is going anywhere, also you can go to the website, rosemaryaltea.com, and just click subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but that also will get you onto the mailing list too. But just because you haven't heard from us, if all you're requesting is to go on the mailing list, just because you haven't heard from us in a day or two or a week or two, it's probably the newsletter. You see, we don't inundate people. I'm glad really that you said this to us, because this shows that we do not inundate people with emails. We might send out 2 or 3 emails a month. When did the newsletter go out, Chris?
We try to do it in the first couple of days of each month.
Okay.
So it would have been early April.
So, if you've asked to be put on the mailing list, sort of after then, the next thing you should hear from us is May. In the first week of May, you should get a newsletter. And, so if you don't get it, then that is the time to sort of just email us again and give us a nudge.
So Sandy was remarking about you being in the cupboard during the show. Says that's a show idea. Medium in the cupboard. We almost caught you with sewed up your nose.
Sandy, you really think that I want to be stuck in a cupboard? No, I want to be on the sofa. I wish, if it weren't for COVID, I would be inviting anybody who's close by, anybody who wants to travel, come and sit on the sofa with me. We used to do that. In fact, we've had guests sitting on our sofa. We've had guests from Maine. We've had guests from, Argentina, believe it or not. We've had guests from all sorts of different places coming, sitting on my sofa. I pretend that I'm like Graham Norton. I love Graham Norton, and he's really, really funny. I'm not nearly as funny as he is. But because of COVID, you can't actually come and physically sit on the sofa. But hey, considering I can travel to Iceland and did yesterday, considering I've told my grandson I'm magic, I can come into anyone's. So shall I come into your house? Do you want me to come and sit on your sofa? I can do that too. Chris?
I think we should start a campaign to get you to go on the Graham Norton show. I think everybody should write in and say, hey, you've never had Rosemary on. Now's the time.
Oh, yeah. Sitting on that red sofa.
That plus let's get oh gosh, what's your favorite cook that swears?
Oh, Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, we should get him either in your kitchen or you on one of his shows. Oh my God, wouldn't that be something?
I know that he curses and he swears, but I love him, and he's such a brilliant cook, and he has a fantastic and amazing personality, and he's really, really good with his kids too. So, I know I wish he wouldn't swear so much, but if you can sort of get over that, then he's so fun to watch. Chris?
Randy says, I was so mad because I heard my daughter's psychology teacher saying that psychology is based on science, but psychics are not. Ooh. She also advocated for James Randi.
Oh, what? To her class? Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You see, a while ago, actually, I think it was when my daughter was in school. At one point, there were a few teachers in the school who had a political agenda, and they were sending home forms for parents to fill in, asking us who we voted for. Now, mind your own damn business. And there are people out there. Teachers should be impartial, but of course they're not. But luckily, if kids have got parents to go home to and parents who they can talk to, that's great. I remember going into a school, oh gosh, a few years ago, and there were a bunch of kids. They were from age 15 to 17, and they were just about to go into sixth form. And a friend of mine happened to be a teacher, and she said to me, "Would you come in and talk to them?" And we had a blast, and I encouraged them to ask any questions they wanted. I encouraged them to be as skeptical as they wanted to be. I was not there to prove anything to them. I just told them what I did and what I believed. But I also was very, very clear, as all teachers should be. This is what I believe, but you should have your own opinions. Even with Samantha, even with my daughter, I mean, she grew up with this, she grew up with me, but I would encourage her, just do your own investigations, look around, see, I encouraged her to delve into other kinds of belief systems and different religious beliefs, because I think that we should each come to our own conclusions and in our own way. So I think the teacher needs to boot up the bum, because what she should be saying to these children is, these are my opinions, but they're not the opinions of everybody. Make up your own mind. That's what teachers should do. So I think I'd be marching down to the school right about now. Chris, you there?
Yes, Susan wants to know what your astrology sign is.
Well, you should know. I'm not really the bull in the china shop, but I am a Taurian. My birthday's coming up, Susan. This is what we're celebrating. 25 years. The first publication of The Eagle and the Rose was published on my birthday, which is May 19th. So we've got lots and lots and lots and lots of things to celebrate. No, I am not making myself a birthday cake because I'm not a big cake fan. I might make some meringues, or I might make a chocolate torte, or I don't know. Chris wants me to make chocolate eclairs, don't you, Chris?
I do.
I might
I
make
didn't think for your birthday, though.
Well, I have to wait and see. Maybe I will make a birthday dinner for myself. Maybe I'll invite you all along. Watch for me, because I'm going to be popping in and out unexpectedly into your lives. Anybody else got any comments or anything going on here? Because
we've still got more, but you're about 45 minutes into this, Rosemary.
Just a little bit longer then, because we are off the cuff.
All right. Mark says, I remember seeing you for the first time on the Oprah show back in 94 or 95.
Yeah, it was 95.
I saw you share news of these two audience members' mom and how she passed, and that she was always near them. And there was more you shared, but I remember more the look on their faces, the tears, the joy, and then seeing Oprah's mouth ajar. She was a believer at that second. I already believed in you before that. Hugs and kisses.
Oh, thanks for sharing that, Mark. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Anything else, Chris?
Oh, yeah. You could still keep going, Rosemary.
Well,
Christina says, my father has been to the hospital 3 times this month. We're not getting consistent answers. Is Rosemary picking up anything?
Well, I don't pick up anything, darling. But that's not what I do. I listen and I'm given information. I don't pick it up. I know I'm being pedantic now, aren't I? This is what my advice to you is. Okay, you have to be the advocate for your father, because he may not be able to speak out for himself. You have to be that person who pushes. Now, I know people are so afraid of upsetting the doctor. People are so afraid of the white coat, but a doctor is simply a man, and sometimes these doctors need to be, their feet need to be held to the fire. And if you're not getting answers, you should go in there and say, right, I need to see somebody who can give me these answers. Stop messing me about, stop mucking us about. Let's get down to it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. They are doctors. They are men or women. They're doctors. They have white coats. But you are the advocate for your father, or your family is the advocate for your father. So do your job and don't be afraid, baby. Chris.
Holly says, "How are you doing, Rosemary? It's so kind of you to come on and chat with everyone. I
Oh,
hope you know how many friends you have all around you, even over distance. This feels like a visit with a good friend every time you and Gray Eagle come on, from apple pie recipes to losing loved ones. Thank you for reaching out to all of us. Big hugs."
well, oh, Holly, that's so nice of you to say that. And asking, how am I doing? Uh, we've had a busy few days. I've been working all day today. How am I doing? I'm actually doing really well, but thank you for asking. You know, uh, like everybody else, everybody has ups and everybody has downs. Sometimes when I get up from this sofa, I feel like this old lady because I can't straighten my back sometimes, and that's sort of moan and complain, and then I laugh at myself because I sound like an old lady. But mostly, I'm really good. Um, I do miss my puppy. I miss all of my puppies, but of course, Kachoro is the last one. I went to bed yesterday. I went to bed a little bit early yesterday. I'm a late nighter usually. And Kachoro was always on the sofa in my bedroom. And I went to bed, and as I was climbing into bed, I looked over at the sofa, which was totally empty. And I didn't like it at all. But at the same time, I know that he's safe where he is, and I know that he's no longer in any pain anymore. So that's good. So, Holly, thank you. Thank you for asking. That's so sweet of you. Chris.
Sharon says, "Dear Rosemary, how do our loved ones know when we are about to have a consultation with you? Did
Oh,
they get
gosh.
notified somehow? I asked because there were quite a few people there during our consultation."
Let me tell you, Sharon, they're not only notified, I think the trumpets go out. I think everybody is heralded. She's, hey, look what's happening. We're getting a chance to talk to her. We're getting a chance to talk to our family. So they don't really want to talk to me. I'm just the person who is able to connect you all. But yes, I mean, look, there are no coincidences and no accidents. Very often, and I have to laugh about this, but very often, those in the spirit world, your loved ones in the spirit world, they know before you do that you're having a consultation with me. So it's like, okay, you're just falling into line with their plan. Chris.
All right, you were frozen there for a second.
Okay.
A couple of people are asking about, do you do personal readings or consultations or group readings?
I
If you could
do.
talk about that.
I do, and I do, and I do. Yes, I do. Why do you think I went to Iceland yesterday? And how do you think I went to Singapore? I'm not going just for the fun of it, although it was fun. Uh, and yes, I go all over the world. We do our consultations. Usually, I do them either if you are an Apple person and you've got an Apple device, you can do FaceTime with me because I have Apple. So Apple to Apple is FaceTime. So we can do it that way. We can do it on Messenger or Skype or Zoom. Zoom is great because you can schedule it, and then all you have to do is click in, and you click on the Zoom link and it takes you right in there. Also, it's pretty clear. There are very few problems with Zoom, but Skype is another thing that lots of people like to use. I think depending on which country you're coming from, I think there are preferences. So yes, I do private consultations if you're in the area, or if you're flying to the area, or sometimes people fly, and in fact people fly from all over the world to come and have a face-to-face consultation. But if you go to my website, rosemaryaltea.com, You will see there all of the information, what you have to do. All you have to do really is to email Chris, Kris, at rosemaryaltea.com, and tell her that you are interested in a consultation, and she'll send you all the information. If you want a group consultation, we do actually have, we do group sessions for businesses. We do group sessions for families, or people who sort of for whatever reason want to share a session. So we have all sorts of ways that you can talk to me. Sometimes I think I'm going to be talking to one person and there are 6 people and they're all family and they're all in there and they're all having a fun time, and I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, I'm going to deal with all these people. I didn't leave enough time or enough room or so on. So please be specific. If you're going to book a consultation with me, please be specific, first of all, about the type of consultation you want, because if you want a life consultation, that means that you're not necessarily wanting someone in the spirit world. Maybe you don't even know people in the spirit world. That doesn't mean they won't come through for you, but just saying, if you just have issues or a problem, or you want guidance with your life and life issues, then that's one type of consultation that you can have. Or if you want to make a connection, you specifically want to make a connection with someone, that is another consultation that you can have. And by the way, we're on the 8th, May the 8th, when, if you are a person who you're coming on May the 8th and you want a message, but you don't particularly want a message from the spirit world, you just would like some help and guidance with a problem, or you'd like to hear what Grey Eagle has to say about that problem, you just make it clear what it is that you'd like. Chris.
Robin wants to know, do you record the reading, or do you have to give information, or do you just help the spirit come through?
You tell me as little as possible. That's what you do. What I do is I ask a couple of questions. The first is, who in the spirit world, if there is anybody that you would like to connect with, who in the spirit world would you like to connect with? All you have to do is say to me, mother, brother, sister, whoever it is. You don't even have to give me their name. You just the relationship. And the reason I ask that one question of you is because, for many people, we have lots of people in the spirit world, and I need to be able to focus. If it's your mother you want and you really would like me to just focus in that area, then that's what I'm going to try to do. The second thing is, I always say to people, come prepared with your questions, and I suggest that people can have up to 10 questions. And it can be my job, my relationship, health, different things like that, whatever, or business. If you want to ask a business question, business. We do the rest of it. If I'm going to make a connection with your family in the spirit world, or even if I'm simply just talking with Grey Eagle, they're going to tell me what's going on here. I was somewhere, I can't remember whereabouts it was, I was somewhere or another just the other day, actually in somebody's house, actually looking down into a pit. This particular house was built on a sort of a pond, and nobody told me this. The person I was having this consult with didn't tell me this, but it was very obvious from what I was being shown about the spirit world, what the issue was and what the problem was. So, and all the question that she put to me was property, and that's all I knew about it. So, you shouldn't tell somebody like me too much. I could be a fake, I could be a cheat. I could listen to what you tell me and then turn it right back on you, and you'll think I'm amazing until you think about it and you think, did I tell her that? Did I? So when people start telling me things, my hand goes up and I say, you got to stop. No, don't say anything. Just say yes or no to me as I am talking to you. So just, be careful, everybody out there. Don't get caught up or wrapped up in thinking that you've got to tell me stuff, because that's not the way it works. If the spirit world can tell me things, that's great. And if they don't, well, we'll just keep trying until they do. I think that's it for today. Chris, what do you think? We've had
If you
busy,
hadn't
busy
have
day.
said that, I was going to say the same thing, because we're coming right up on the hour.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely. thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope we try to inspire, we try to give you information, we try to, sort of encourage you to ask questions. Please, if you want to know more about our webinars, we have one on the 8th and we have one on the 22nd of May, because May is our celebration day. I shall be definitely here on Saturday morning for our story time. And that's the 1st of May. So I'm going to tell the story, hopefully, about the eagle and the rose and how it came about. Oh, there are no coincidences, are there? Anyway, also, I'm going to be cooking on Sunday. I'm hoping, I can't guarantee it, but I'm hoping my dad is going to join me. Grey Eagle, of course, I know will join me. We're going to be making peaches and cream cheese, my very special cream cheese. You'd think, well, what can cream cheese say? So cream cheese is cream cheese. No, 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 no. This is the most amazing cream cheese you will ever taste. It's delicious. I'm going to show you how to make it. But I'm also going to show you how, when you're in the kitchen or wherever you are, even if you're out shopping, I'm going to be showing you this month as I intrude into your homes. If you let me into your homes, I'm going to show you how easy it is and how connected you can be with your loved ones in the spirit world, and how they can help you even in your cooking. Mark, I hope you enjoyed your ribs and wine. I hope you've all enjoyed being with us tonight. And I'd like to say thank you to Chris. I'd like to say thank you to Grey Eagle specifically for being with us and helping us here. But I would very much like to say thank you to all of you. I wish you all a very blessed rest of the night. And I look forward to seeing you. May is coming, just the day after tomorrow, whenever it is. It's coming, coming, coming. So be prepared. You're going to be surprised over and over again when I keep popping up. I might irritate you. You just don't switch on. If I'm irritating, you just don't switch on. But I'm going to be doing my thing. Chris is going to be doing her thing. We're going to see what we can bring you through the month of May, because we're on the cusp now and about to begin our celebrations. 25 years, people. 25 years. Gosh, am I really that old? I suppose I must be. Bye, everybody.